Hello and welcome to the Foundry Roundtable, episode 133. I am your villain host, Greendragoon. With me are my co-host, DuncanIdaho, and
Hello.
my other co-host, Markhawkman.
Greetings.
Unfortunately, Dragoon is running a little late tonight. Hopefully he'll be able to join us later. But in the meantime, we still got a lot to cover.
Yeah, some new Foundry stuff. I've published something, and we're closing in on starting our AEI challenge.
Totally, almost, quite, just a little bit more there.
Just a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we waiting on you or Dragoon?
I'm going to blame this all on Dragoon because he is not here to defend himself.
Yay!
That's
Alright,
kind
what
of
else?
scapegoat.
Yeah. What else can we put on him quickly?
I don't know. Ponies.
What about temporal shenanigans? Let's see. Did he destroy Hobus?
Only with help.
Oh, okay. So he's a collaborator, at least.
So, we've actually, as you mentioned, we do have some news in the form of some new assets on Tribble. More specifically, some new NPC assets.
Yeah, and a lot of these I've noticed people have been asking for a while. Let's see, I can go ahead and go through the list right now. So, except I can't because I just deleted the page. Damn it.
Well, that's okay. I've got it pulled up here, and
yeah.
I've got to pass a special thank you out to Sir Boulevard for compiling this list. So it appears we've got two versions of Admiral Quinn, one listed as 2409 and one listed as 2410. Did I understand correctly that there may or may not be a difference between these two?
It's the uniform. See, because the first one is the old Sierra style, I think, and the new one is the Odyssey style.
Actually show this up here. And again, props to Sir Boulevard for the picture. Additionally, we've got Admiral Tenay in 24.9 and 24.10 variants. We've got Captain Akira Sulu. We've got Captains Corin, Sean, and Commander Jabrak. So we've got the captains of the three flagships. We've also got Captain Kargan. As well as Commander Burgess, our wonderful resident Starfleet intelligence officer. We've also got Dr. Eric Cooper, which will be interesting because obviously he is, at least his Undyne version is, I don't know, disassembled?
I would just say exploded. Or whereabouts unknown, depending on how you want to interpret that scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is an interesting one, and one I wouldn't have expected.
The Undine Cooper?
Well, we've got a Cooper. It may be the original Cooper we could write it as.
True.
So, yeah.
We don't actually know what happened to him. Just that...
Well, there were certain... The missions involving Cooper... At one point in the storyline, there's this drastic change in his personality.
And
my guess is that the change in his personality is indicative of him being replaced with an Undine. Exactly. However, we don't know exactly how or when the Undine replaced him.
So there's nice ambiguity there for people to write around.
True.
We could go back and find Cooper. We could find that his Undine self has not been killed. So yeah, it's an interesting, I'd say, just asset for people to be creative with.
Because we do know that in some cases, such as Saketh, where the Undine will actually kill the person they're replacing and try to hide the body. But it's not entirely clear whether this is standard procedure.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things
Saketh
that
acted insane even for an Undine.
we don't have enough data to form a pattern. We've only got the one instance of a replaced person being found afterwards. But of course, that just leaves more space open for interpretation.
Huzzah.
In the case of Saketh, I wouldn't actually say that we found him after he was replaced. I would really say that we prevented him from actually replacing him. Because, well, that was almost immediately after the Undine showed up on Vulcan, and that particular Undine infiltrator did not know how to act like a Vulcan. He just didn't. Oh well.
You make it sound like we almost didn't totally mess up on that mission. So we've got another one. It's labeled here as Holographic Explorer. Have you guys seen what this is?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't looked at any of those assets.
That one of us should go there, maybe. I'm very intrigued by that one.
I want to get into the Foundry later. I'll quick take a look.
Well, what's it look like?
I have no idea.
Know.
I can't pick that one out on the picture shown. We shall see later on.
So we also have Jimpock, although it's noted here that he has the incorrect model.
Jimpock has that and has had that tendency lately.
Oh, you mean the one where there's a version that looks almost exactly like Jimpock, except that it lacks his facial scars?
Yep, it is the one in the middle in the picture.
Yeah, that doesn't look very much like Jimpock.
He is an Klingon.
Yeah, it's more like a random Dehar master than the specific one that they made for Jimpock.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Zero, which is the one I assume added all of these. Hopefully she gets a chance to get in there and fix it. We've also got Linnae. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's a small complaint versus getting everyone else, though. So
yeah, true. I mean, these people are a huge deal.
Yeah, the simple fact we have one, even if it's not necessarily the right one, is impressive.
I'm already thinking about using Datan, Sean. Undoubtedly, I could use Quinn for something. It's just miscellaneous contact givers.
I already used Quinn. It's just that I used a recreation of Quinn.
Yeah. But the nice thing about this versus a recreation is that we can use them for the initial dialogue, where we're limited to only stock NPCs.
That's true.
I'm down to using exocomps for those. I was just running out of ideas. It's just like, you know what? That's different. Here we go.
The exocomps really are taking over. All right, so we've also got Linnea. There you go, Mark. As you mentioned, we've also got Datan. So that kind of rounds out the three leaders or leadership type figures. And then we've got Lieutenant Commander Van Ziel, which I totally would have loved to have had back when I was doing EVA Resolutions, because she was my choice for mission giver. And then I found out we didn't have her, and I had to invent some other character to deliver the message. So that's pretty much the complete list. It's definitely a lot of really good additions.
Yep, and I'm not sure if we mentioned this, but it's on Tribble right now, and should be showing up on Holodeck in the next update.
Yep, if history is any judge.
Well, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. We'll see.
At some point in the future, we may get these.
And probably not a long time.
Probably not.
All right, so I mean, definitely off to a good start. Why don't we move on to what we've been working on? Mark, did you want to go first?
I haven't spent a whole lot of time in the Foundry because I got distracted with that Circus Malvanum thing they're doing in Champions. But I did spend some time tinkering with Okeg's costume in the Foundry editor. Well, not the Foundry editor, but the main game editor, because I was evaluating its usefulness as a Foundry costume. And then I noticed something very, very interesting about it. If you try to set the outfit to coal black, what it actually becomes is this eerie looking, like a dark iridescent green.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
I think I did the same thing, and it actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it has like a metallic texture to it.
Yeah, it can easily stand in for something that's quite alien.
My thought is that it actually, when you do it that way, it actually looks a lot like the Intel outfits.
So the formal Intel.
Yes, you know when you need to blackmail someone at those estate dinners.
Yay.
All right, so I will go next and say haven't done a ton on the Foundry lately. I've been mostly trying to figure out which map I want to work on next, and so I've been kind of looking at a few of them. I've got this ice field that I've been trying to work on, and I've been trying to get the density just right for the asteroids, because I want it to be so that you're working your way through it, but you can't really see that far, so you're kind of going through it not blind, but without too much indication of what's ahead. And I keep running into the problem.
You're figuring things out as you go.
Yeah, I mean, in the story, you've warped into this field to basically hide, and so you're kind of figuring it's enough that it's going to disrupt your sensors as well as anyone scanning for you. So you're kind of hobbling your way through it, trying to not stay in one spot. But it's just a problem of I don't want it. I want it to feel like it's expansive and somewhat dense, so that you can't just see to the other side easily. But at the same time, the more dense I make it, the more I know it's going to kill somebody's graphics card.
Well, yeah. Also there's a slightly different issue with that, is that when you make those things too dense, you'll actually have player collision with the randomly located objects.
Well, I'm assuming they can steer a little bit.
Well, but the thing is, though, is that it's possible to collide with even the tiny ones that are, well, difficult to see from a distance. Let's put it that way.
Well, these are fairly large, so thankfully it's
using the large asset ones.
Yeah, it's actually these huge
the ones that are
ice shards
ships.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah, well, it's something I've experimented with in the past, using the debris field objects, and because the debris field objects will have things that are as small as like half an engine nacelle, and they will keep you from being able to move when you bump into one of them.
I think we're losing Mark a little bit.
Yeah, for the most part so far I've working with just the larger ones. But yeah, it's kind of a balancing act, trying to keep it not too dense, but not dense enough, and also trying to get a backdrop that really works well with fog. I picked a map that had a one of those fog effects for the engine trails already. And so I was trying to get it to work with that and stuff like that. I'm hoping it'll produce a really nice result in the end, but now it's tweaking.
Have you ever tried the fluidic backdrop. That does interesting things.
I
The one
have
like-
recently.
I was just going to say, the one I like is a miscellaneous debris field object. It's metallic, but it does do a pretty good stand-in if you need to have something that looks a little bit more filled in without introducing too many things in the playable map.
Well, I mean, I've already got a few asteroids in there, like normal asteroids from from the map itself, because I'm using a stock map because I wanted to use this. This had this engine trail. But yeah, I mean, it's. But I mean, that means I can't. It's not perfect. Like it's not all ice, so I have some flexibility about using other assets or other types of debris. But yeah, it's just a lot of trial and error and trying to get that to work well with the backdrop.
Yeah. The standard Foundry routine. I'm going to make a small change. Okay, load it up. See how it works. Okay, I'm going to make another small change. Load it up. I'm going to make a small change. Load it up. You know, I'm going to go back to the first thing.
7 hours later.
Yeah, and that's when I look at the clock and realize it's 3 a.m. and I've got work.
Well, to be fair, I also sometimes have that problem when I'm going on a rampage in Champions.
All right, so Dragoon, or not
the other one.
Duncan.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about what you've been working on?
I published a new mission. So it's Trident Part 2. That one got done relatively quickly once I sort of found the little final angle for most of the dialogue. And yeah, that's out. It's out of review, and it's pretty well received right now. And it's something that I recommend people should play because I like it and want people to see the magnificent things I've done. Yay. So on that point, it's been a while for this project. 2.5 months on this build, with the initial build starting up, I think, back in December or November when we first started talking about the Alliance Exploration Initiative. So it's the resolution of that particular story arc and those particular character arcs. And we'll see if I go ahead and make any more missions based on this. But it's... it should be something interesting to go through because it is our first exploration missions, and it's the first multi-part mission series I've made, or something that's at least one continuous storyline and not simply a sort of multiple episodes of a longer Star Trek style arc. And otherwise, I've done a little bit of tinkering with the Alliance Exploration Initiative project. Except I'm going to be backing out of the challenge on that one because I want to start making other things. I've got 3 AEI missions now, and yeah. Well, I need to make something else. I really need to make something else.
The plus side of the whole AEI concept is that it's not just the challenge. Anyone can do it for any reason.
Yeah, and Sir Boulevard, Starfar Theta, Doc Ducks, and Sutherland and I are starting work on a 5 or 6 part episode series that is AEI. That we've starting to work on ideas for a region out that way where there's something going on that could last that many episodes. So that's what I'm ultimately going to be using. What I was building on that we showed off on the last show right at the end, and I've been tinkering on this week. That map is eventually going to be used for some component of that. What, we can't say now, but we are looking at more AEI stuff. It's just in the near term, I do want to get back onto something else, at least just to have the feeling of publishing something that's not at the Archer system. Because as it is, it's 3 of my 7 current missions.
Well, one thing that I've been pondering as for doing something related to the AEI thing is doing a mission that involves the Dark Soldier race that I came up with for that Nebula mission I made.
Yep, and who cameo in the 4th SSF.
yeah, the part about them that I found that most amusing is I originally wanted to use the shell yak, but I wasn't able to build something that was close enough to the shell yak to be a reasonable facsimile. So I just decided to make a new race that's the same type of alien life form. Which is also the reason why I did that weird armor for them, is because it has those fluid lines, and when you paint it black, it does kind of sort of look like Shellyak skin. But you can't make the entire character look like that. It's obvious they're, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, you can do some interesting things with the Kratasan skin. Because it is very organic looking, especially when you set that to jet black.
Hmm.
Well, it's definitely one of the things, I mean, especially kind of the theme of this whole exploration initiative is that we haven't really, I mean, even in this time, Starfleet hasn't really explored all that far from Earth. I mean, in comparison to the rest of the Alpha and Beta quadrants. So, like, there's so much more out there.
Yeah. And
That was one of the more amusing things that it was kind of a plot point in TNG, but it's one of the things that wasn't explained in any of the episodes, at least not clearly, is why was it that Picard kept doing exploration missions in areas that are close to things that were already Federation space?
I got the impression that he was pushing the boundaries, but I mean, just by sheer mass, the galaxy is really, really big. So, I mean, even in all this time, I think it's taken so long to really, because if you think about it, mapping is actually a very tedious process. It doesn't go quickly because you have to go scan sections.
Another thing to consider is there are levels of mapping. There is basic mapping, like plotting the location of a solar system relative to the other solar systems of. That's a very, very low level sort of mapping. I mean, all you really know is that it has a yellow star, and that's it. Then you scan it to see what planets are there, how far they are, plot their orbits, etc., etc. But you don't really know what's in the planets. Then there's mapping the surfaces of each of those planets, and well, you see where this is going.
Yeah. And
what was it?
It's also another thing too is once you've sent one Federation ship out to do some exploration, the next Federation ship out, well, you've mapped a sort of region around that pathway. So even if you've sort of hit a general area, there's probably still lots of space within that that hasn't been thoroughly explored, at least adjacent. So even as you're sort of pushing the boundaries, you're still dealing with a lot of boundaries that haven't been thoroughly gone towards. By other Federation vessels. So that's where, for me, that's the feeling of TNG, where you're sort of pushing the boundaries, but the boundaries themselves they're maybe not necessarily regularly defined. So you can start going where Starfleet hasn't gone before, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're beyond their contact range. I think that was the feeling a little bit more with Enterprise, that this is the first ship out there. So everywhere it goes is completely new boundaries, where it feels a little bit more haphazard with TNG.
Well, in
just
TNG,
so much going on.
One of the more interesting things is the fact that a lot of the places they went to in TNG were, well, it was like what I said, that the Federation knew basic information about this location, but they hadn't plotted all of the fine details. Mm-hmm. So when they show up, they have a vague idea as to what's in the system, but it's so vague that it's really not useful.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Voyager. Like Voyager probably has lots of information about a lot of different systems, but only a few that it personally visited. So TNG is sort of the just sort of the follow-up to, you can imagine, a series of those types of missions. It's like, you know what? Let's actually have a look.
I was just thinking of a scene in Star Trek VI where it opens with the Excelsior, and They say what they spent the last 2 years just to catalog and catch this anomalies.
And I almost felt bad for Sulu for that one. It's just like, really? I mean, it's probably very good scientific work, but just at a personal level, it has to be rather dry. And it doesn't seem like the Excelsior, especially with the other the facilities it showed off, it seemed rather Spartan and austere, especially compared to the Enterprise D. So
well, I think the D was opulent by Starfleet standards. I mean, it was.
Yeah. I mean, didn't in one episode Picard say something or other about how it had not only space for the actual crew, but also their families and, stuff to keep their families entertained.
Yeah, it was almost built to the scale of a generational ship.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it was meant for the ideas like, look, you're going to be out there and it's going to be super boring. Here, at least you can take your life with you.
Yeah, you're putting people on the ship and you're expecting them to stay there for years.
There is enough room for a trombone on the ship. It doesn't feel that way with the Excelsior. Someone pulls a trombone out there and there's going to be blood.
And that's how Tuvok got kicked out of Starfleet the first
time. He brought a musical instrument on the Excelsior. There's not enough room. Everyone can hear it on the ship.
All right, well, we've delayed enough. Duncan, you had some map you wanted to show off.
So this is stuff that I was working on just before downtime, and we weren't able to get to it because publishing got taken down early. So I've put the content back up here, and we are going to go ahead and take a look at 3 missions from what I'll be working on instead of AEI for the next few weeks. Unless I change my mind again, but probably not. So this is going to be the continuation of the Starfleet Security Files. This is episode 5, taking place after the revamped version of my 4th mission.
Someone who spent the last few years working on a single mission series, I can appreciate your desire to do something else.
Yeah, although it's getting back to what I was doing before, but there's some big character arc changes that I really want to get to, and I've written about 65% of the mission is now done, although what we'll be seeing now is a lot of the bits cut off. And it's one of the things where it's really compelling for me right now, and I do want to get to it before I really get involved in something else, because I know if I do that, then those ideas are going to sit around. They might get a little stale and might be a little bit harder to finish off. So we're going to start off here in my first attempt at a Federation custom interior. This was actually...
Oh yeah, by the way, you forgot to team me.
Oh. Dang
Sorry.
it. And he joined mid-progress?
Just beam out and
hang on.
Okay.
Is this going to start at ESD somewhere?
No, it's Donia.
No.
So you have to go to just north of the Federation Fleet Starbase. So we'll take in
the Beta Quadrant, though, right?
Yeah, Beta Quadrant. I still haven't used the Alpha Quadrant yet, or the Delta Quadrant. So it's just north of the Federation Fleet Starbase and south of Ryza. So anyway, while we're waiting to get started here with Mark, a little word on the mission itself is that it takes place on Donia, and it's a world related to the Federation in the sense that it's a friendly species that's referenced in the background lore. Sorry, just a second. Sorry, I just had to clear my throat for a second. I am fighting off a cold right now. So to continue on here, to make a valiant effort of it, Donia was a world that was used for background once in a STO mission. So it shows up in the background for the first map, and all you do is clear out a bunch of Klingons who are just sort of camped out there, and that's it. The background of the planet is that it was once an M-class world, had a native humanoid species, and they killed themselves off. or more or less. So they wrecked their world with into various types of industrial activity. Eventually had to be evacuated off, and I think that was with help from the Federation. And I've picked that world back up in the sense that I'm writing a terraforming project by that species in the Federation to try to reestablish itself. So it had a strong Federation presence now. They're just making a little bit of progress. There's a few artificial habitations on the planet now. And what's happened is that another species has occupied it. So there is an invading power. They are the conclave from my second mission, and you have to try to work out why they're there and how to get them off. And that's basically the gist of the mission. So we'll see the map I'm using for the opening scene, which is going to be the character introduction for the returning Starfleet security members. And we'll move on from that map to the exterior and interior maps on Donia.
Okay, well, let's head back in.
Righto.
With Mark this time.
No man left behind.
Yeah, I actually had my computer crash earlier, which, well, I don't think you'd actually gotten to this part yet. But anyways.
Hopefully it won't crash again.
A lot of the Alpha and Beta Quadrant system patrol missions actually had very interesting story hooks associated with them.
Yeah, and to start this one off, I just took a look around at those and like, you know what? This one kind of gripped me. So it's like, let's actually try to fill something out for the Star Trek Online universe.
Because there's actually been well, I've actually personally used one of them as a plot element in the story because one of them makes a mention of how this particular location has antichronoton particles that are seemingly occurring naturally.
Yeah, so a note on this map again, it's a Federation interior. We start off in sickbay. I've got the sickbay beds with actual display information, or at least larger display information, posted right up using the holographic display panels. And just as a bit of scenery, they're working on a Tribble for unspecified reasons.
Very large Tribble.
Yes, it is the single Tribble asset, and unfortunately,
maybe that's why they're studying it. They want to know why it's so large.
It hasn't reached critical mass. Animated series reference.
I was thinking of that episode. So you're gonna you're gonna hate this, but it's bugging me that the squares are not lining up with the biobeds.
I know, and that was one of the things where it's just like I had the regular pattern down, and it's one that, and it's also not lining up with the wall either. And I could change that a little bit, but it got to the process of iteration where like, I want to complete it. But that was with eons. I probably can go back now and readjust those because again, this is a work in progress. This map is largely complete because it is taken from another mission. It's the 4.5 million year mission. And yeah, the square thing was just something I sort of set up and started playing around with in there, and then just it worked well in the entryway, and then it got a little wayward, and I made priority on the regular pattern. So we'll see.
But the fact that you were texturing the floor, it's just one of those things you felt the need to continue, even though it wasn't quite working out the way you wanted it to.
Exactly,
yeah. And oftentimes it's a.
But there's a lot of ways you can play around with it. So we've got the interior hallway area.
I like it. I love what you've done with the ceiling here.
Yes.
And it's a nice ceiling.
And Drogon's not here to see the ceiling detail.
His loss.
Oh, well, he can watch the show on YouTube /
the thing I disliked most about the design that I put together for the Beta Rana incident for that station interior was the ceiling. Because it was just kind of something that would happen to be there. It wasn't really anything that was cool.
And as a note, this room used to have ceiling detail, the side room here, except I ran into the asset limit. And that was one of the things I could cheat on. So I've got one crew quarter set up in here. Let's see, where'd you guys go? Oh, Beth mission. So she's now a Starfleet captain. So she's worked her way up. So this is where you have the dialogue with her. It's miscellaneous quarters. I got beds, I've got lights, I've got a poker table. That had to stay. And also a replicator, because I figured, it has to, feel a little bit livable. You have to have the amenities. Although I could not work out how to do a bathroom easily, so I left that one out.
Well,
I think we actually did an episode on doing a toilet.
One of the things that Champions Online has in their assets that we don't have in Stowe is Champions Online actually has things like couches and sinks and toilets as in-game assets.
So I left that one out.
Well,
I think we actually did an episode on doing a toilet.
One of the things that Champions Online has in their assets that we don't have in Stowe is Champions Online actually has things like couches and sinks and toilets as in-game assets.
And we've got a few couches and some wall asset that we can sort of use for a sink, although it's not exactly that. So
I ask you that when in Star Trek did they ever show the toilet?
Let's see. There is.
They've talked about them in 1 or 2 episodes, but you never see them.
I'm thinking back to one of the movies, and no, we haven't got it yet. Yeah, it's probably one of the Roddenberry rules.
I was gonna say, we've seen showers, we've seen sinks, no toilets.
Yeah, okay, I got to go back to Enterprise now because they do show there are some bathroom scenes, but yeah, I don't know if they ever incidentally showed one. I'm thinking the scene where they lose gravity.
They talked about ship sanitation and how the fact that there were several Bolians on board meant that they had to take certain special measures in regards to that. But
And
that was it.
There was also mention in Enterprise when they, in the episode Catwalks, they do have to set up a latrine, but they don't show it, fortunately.
It's just one of those weird things that, I mean, now that I think about it, it's like...
It's one of the harder things they had to work out for the space program. Or not one of the hardest, but it was, serious concern. But
obviously, starships don't have to deal with zero-G.
Your shielded computer core you put in the corner, it looks like you managed to make the clear wall pieces exactly line up with the difference in color in the floor.
Yeah. One of the people in the chat, Johnny 18504, mentions that they might use the transporters.
I've heard that one before.
So back to the mission, just so we can move on. This is the science lab. I haven't found a use for it in this mission, but it is a holdover from the AEI mission Eons, where this is sort of where the temporal incursion starts. So that's why I went and built this space. It might not show up in the actual mission we're about to have, but it's there. I didn't find any particular reason to delete it or build anything else in its place. So yeah, that's it. So the next thing is a door that doesn't open because it would open into a section of the medical lab. So we're going to go to the elevator and bridge. So everyone get inside. Otherwise, we will leave a man behind. So a little bit further. There we go. Okay, it works. So yeah, this is the bridge.
I seem to remember you posting pictures of this.
Yep, it was the defined style bridge, and I just had enough assets to do a little something with the ceiling here. Not as much as I wanted, but it's something. And it's the defined style bridge with a few consoles on the side. I modeled it a little bit in the first motion picture.
This console you chose to put here at the top is actually one of my favorite ones because it's an astrometrics display.
Yeah, and it has a nice lighting effect too. I really like that one.
Also, if you look really, really closely at this console, this is one of the in-game assets that uses pictures of real-world objects. Because one of the things is a picture of the Pleiades, and another is Nebula.
I also just noticed that it's penetrating the wall, and I will have to fix that. In both this mission, actually, I used this map twice in this mission and twice in Eon, so I'm gonna have to go back to all 4 of those.
It looks fine.
It's slightly off. Must fix it.
Yeah, it's the Foundry Compel. No one will notice, except I just mentioned it, but I now have to go fix it because I know exactly how to fix it. I just need to move it by 0.1 degree. And so anyway. I've got my arch style display here for the tactical officer. and the captain's chair, a single comm station, little red lights for the red alert, which don't animate, but are that little nice touch where it's something that could be done.
And what's the red thing above the captain's chair? The automated bridge defense turret?
Maybe. It's the miscellaneous thing at the top of the room, which may or may not have a specific function. I like to think it's an additional shield generator.
It vaporizes anyone who gives you a 1 star.
Actually, the reason why I said that was because one of the episodes of the animated series, they actually had that come up as a plot element. The fact that they actually had an intruder defense turret built into the bridge of the Enterprise.
Yeah, I remember that one. So far, well, nothing like that comes up in the mission, but you can always use your imagination. It's it's a massive antimatter containment vessel, just in case the captain needs to personally reach up and destroy the ship.
Well, that thought actually had kind of occurred to me because I know what this is the bottom of. It's one of those energy relay modules.
Yeah, one of those, but it's also I also use the bottom of the science consoles for that extra effect.
Yeah, I actually was kind of wondering about that.
Yeah, that's the very bottom of the science console. They put a bottom there, and I just had it low enough that you can just start to see the teal lighting.
So I guess the doors on the sides are for, well, one of them opens, the other one doesn't.
Yep. One of them opens, one of them doesn't. And what it opens into is a conference room, and I went all out with the fish tanks.
So is this meant to be the player ship or a different ship?
I wrote it as the player ship. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing for this mission.
That is a really cool use for pipes that I hadn't thought of. Just using them as an edge for something, and not actually using them as pipes.
Yeah, so I put curtains here. And that's the big feature of this room, curtains.
Mm-hmm.
And a little control panel for the curtains because I wanted to put a little bit of extra thought into how those are operated. I thought voice control, but no, I want a button. Yeah, you got all that, got a display thing, got another replicator in here, and miscellaneous table, and that is the ship. Oh yeah, and I put a couch in here just because I would want a couch on my ship.
Right next they never show what's in those in-between areas.
So with that, we can go ahead. Oh, and I also made a small little display thing pop up for the captain.
Yes, the holographic heads-up display.
Yep. And I'll go ahead and narrate this. This is not part of the mission. I just wrote this in here for a little bit of transitional dialogue. I have no idea what any of these buttons do, sir, but I shall endeavor to press all of them. Very good. You have the ship.
As we activate the transporter and escape.
Indeed.
What does this button do? No key.
I should have put a password on that self-destruct.
Or password more than alpha 1.
Well, I mean, it's like in some of those really old sci-fi movies where they try to crack a password, and it turns out the password's something like cocoon.
Yeah.
Kronos wonders, like, why on earth would someone pick that for a password?
There's a good Terry Pratchett joke where any secret society will always use the password swordfish whenever it tries to do anything. So this is the ground map for Donia on the exterior. So it is a Federation joint venture, so you can see a little bit of their architecture, but it's also built in and around original Donia architecture. So go ahead and click out of this dialogue, because that will end this map, just in case that pops up for you guys. So it's tied to reaching a particular location, and I didn't bother to change it to anything else. So now we'll just click on the Ops button now if we want to end the mission and finish that dialogue. So for now, we can close that and just continue on with the exploring. And Mark is already trying to get outside the map.
That's what he does.
Yep, and it's pretty easy because there's basically stepping stones here. And I haven't sort of safety-proofed anything except to add ramps if you really get out of the place.
I have a question about the horizon.
Yeah?
What's that?
It's bright orange.
It also looks like there's the rest of the planet is a giant asteroid field.
There is an asteroid field around Donia in the actual mission. So I made sure I used an asteroid skybox to represent that. It actually matches reasonably closely. It's not the same coloration, but sci-fi.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird things where this is one of those maps that doesn't actually have a
it's basically
horizon of its own. So the asteroids look almost like they're part of the ground.
Yeah, it's basically a big hill, just for the ground map itself. And there aren't too many places where you can actually observe that down here. But yeah, if you do start wandering, you can. And so far I've done... Oh, yeah. I just realized the ramp doesn't go up all the way, so don't fall off. Or at least, Dragoon, don't fall off. You don't want to lose the camera.
Yeah, I was just finding a picture of the Donia from orbit.
I would probably find a way to get back up just because.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a appropriate ramp. I just haven't troubleshooted that one, so it's actually still a little low.
So does it look like the planet is like entirely covered in something?
Right now it's sort of a combination of let's see, it's a combination of just miscellaneous ruins and dead terrain. So I haven't done anything too much with the exterior here, since this one I'm mainly still working on the city map. So I haven't done too much around here. It's just ruins and rocks, and that's all I've really had. And I'm probably not going to add too much more, but maybe a few more different types of rocks to break it up, because right now it's just the base map spires.
I kind of like how it's that feeling of having once been ruined and they're slowly starting to build it up.
Yeah, it really does look like a desolate wasteland.
Yep, and just as a note, Pax has just posted in the chat log that the next Foundry maps, the next patch notes are up, which include the new Foundry contacts.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yep, so here's a patio with some NPCs, which I haven't fully troubleshooted yet. They're doing their little jog around. That'll be
one of them's running around like she's like completely lost her mind.
Yeah, I noticed they'll do that, and I noticed they do that when there's no behavior model selected, and they are a little bit off in the Z coordinate, so they're not perfectly lined up with the terrain. So they're trying to find basically a coordinate point that works well for them, and they just can't, and so they keep moving around. So these guys should be crushed around the TV, but they'll keep moving. But that's just stuff to troubleshoot. Again, this is a work in progress. So now I've got this little patio set up.
I found something else that needs to be troubleshooted. This wall I'm standing on, it's too short.
Oh yeah, no, that's on purpose. There's a bit of a staggered look for a lot of these, a lot of the architecture here. You'll notice.
Well, this wall looks to be about 2 feet high.
Yep, exactly. That's on purpose. It's a kind of a crenellation type thing.
Okay then.
So if you just want a little tip for the patio, the Defiant tables, those with the benches attached, and then a umbrella sticking out of the middle of them.
I've done the umbrella before. I did that with Trident, and these ones I wanted. Well, I might go for the patio, but I did put the lights right up there. So I just figured that might be an odd mix. So anyway, for the patio, I've got the little console. Oh, and one other thing over here. We were jumping around this earlier. I did have a small little fountain set up here with 2 inlets for water.
It definitely looks like this took you a while.
That took a little bit of time, not too long. The hardest thing was just to get the waterfall lined up and the small little, what looks like the water outflow, which is a small floor piece that's been inside into the wall. So that took a while.
Also, one thing that I noticed that kind of impressed me is that part where you built the stairs thing. You actually have the stairs height set just right so that people actually walk up the stairs. They don't have to jump up the stairs.
Yeah, and that's taken a while. But yeah, for me, I know that you can basically set anything between, well, not 0, and 0.3, and players will be able to walk that up that. So if you want to make sure you can move up things, you can probably go a little bit higher. But for me, 0.3 is just the default for stairs, or 0.2 if I want a little shallower.
As someone who does a lot of gardening, I like this thing you set up here.
Where are you? Oh, yeah, that thing.
Oh, with the central.
Yeah, the central doohickey. So I've got that set up. So there's a sort of, I use a lot more alien vegetation towards the main building. But as we get out here, I actually shift it to a little bit more terrestrial. And that's to kind of show off the difference between the alien architecture and the kind of the more Starfleet-inspired stuff that's starting to build up over here.
What are these things?
It's a miscellaneous tech bit to make it look a little bit more complicated.
I mean, what asset is that? Because I don't.
It's It's a.
It's a Klingon. It's like a Klingon engineering part.
Oh, that's a Klingon engineering part. The thing I have on the wall, I think. Oh, I can't remember the name right now. I'm blanking on it. It's the same thing I used for the walls in Eons. It's an antenna.
Oh,
and I'm just using the very top bit.
Okay, that makes sense now.
So yeah, I've got this, which is something that looks like it could be involved in a terraforming operation. It's producing some kind of gas.
You know, one thing about these Klingon energy relays that I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but when you position the camera near them, it makes a noise.
Yep, there's a little bit of noise there, and it's yeah, something I don't want to fix because it's one of the few noises that occur on my maps. So moving in this direction, we've got a little bit of Starfleet stuff going on. I added a tree to one of the generic buildings. That's about it. It worked really well. And here's a landing pad with a little bit of a
wow,
a little bit of cargo.
You found a building that actually has a ramp to access the second floor.
Yeah, that one. I do like that one. And yeah, I used the new Romulus pad. I put a bunch of shuttlecraft here, and I used a containment device for something that looks like a miscellaneous information terminal.
Yeah, those are the Tholian prisoner consoles from Nukara.
Yep. And I found another use for them.
They're a very cool looking asset. One of the few Tholian things we actually have.
Mm-hmm. And I actually used that for the same purpose originally in my first mission, and now they're back. They also showed up as large alien button in Eon, not Eons, but Trident Part 1.
You stuck a banner here, but it's kind of not.
Where are you right now?
I'm in a crawl space between the roof of a building and the roof of a different building.
I didn't put anything there.
It's probably attached to the building.
Yeah, it's probably attached. It's probably part of one building and then peeking out at another.
Oh, then now that I looked at there's actually two of them. I guess you're right. They're attached to the roof line of the one building, but it's actually not directly attached. It's just kind of like floating in the air next to the roof line.
So not too much more to this map. I haven't done anything with the alleyways yet, so there's a lot of fine detail here that's going to be put in. But here's most of the basic structure. So we've
How's
got
your asset count right now?
It's getting pretty high. Because over here we've got, actually a couple of cameos from AEI. We've got Dr. Haltaki, who is our planetary ecologist, and Ith, a character from my mission Eons, my second AEI. And they'll have some optional dialogue.
This thing is cool. What'd you make this out of?
This is ancient structures that have been placed together to form this little interior area, which is filled with plants.
But the actual asset you use for the walls is called ancient structure?
Well, it's one of the ancient structures. Again, I don't recall exactly which one, but it's one of the relic pieces. So there's 4 of them, and I just put them facing out from each other, and it forms this nice little claw structure. So quite alien. And a bunch of more trees. And then one last thing as part of this mission, then we can hit the dialogue, go through that, and move on to the next one. And our last one.
No, this would be a good map to add a floater volume to just for the heck of it.
I will go ahead and do that because I just realized that would totally work. Because this is one of those maps where I've sort of built it for 3-dimensionality, I think the only thing is looking at some of the walls from the outside might be a little weird, but it shouldn't be too bad. So this is a small little.
Speaking of looking at the walls from the outside, we should jump off this one and then look at the map.
Yeah, we're going to notice some things because I haven't built up some of the things here. So we can go ahead and finish the mission from the outside. Because all we need to do is
there's a whole lot of things to notice.
Okay, let's go over here. So now we have underside of the Federation building. We've got some screwy textures. Actually, this side, the left isn't too bad. It's the right I haven't done anything to. Yay. Yep, here we go.
I have a question about these round destroyed buildings. Did you actually place them, or are they baked in?
Those ones I placed. It's the only thing I've placed out here. So the plants and the rocks are part of the base map.
Yeah, I say the map doesn't. This map doesn't have any buildings on it.
Yeah, this map is perfect for destroyed wasteland kind of place, though, because you have things that look kind of like they might be rubble or they might be natural. It's hard to tell. And you have these scruffy plants and very few of them.
Yeah, and I'd say the one thing to watch out for is just if you want to build out a larger structure like I did, you do have to build it up a ways, just so you avoid most of the larger rocks.
This terrain is very rugged.
Yeah, I also put in a few of the industrial spires too, just for additional. Could be involved in terraforming, or it could be part of the industrial component.
Oh, I hit the Inviswall.
All right, so if we want, we can go ahead and hit the ops button for the dialogue to go through that. So did you bring it up yet? Because I can't see your screen in real time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you've got Jagoro there?
Hang on. Yep.
Okay, so I'll go through this, and once I finish, go ahead and click it in time. So this is just one of the scenes. We can go through this real quick because it sort of stands off by itself. And okay, so your objective at this point is to sneak into the occupied arcology building, and your two companions have found a way to do that. So we'll go through that real quick. So, greeting, mighty soldiers of the Conclave. I am Administrator Teles, made up name. I've been summoned by the controllers to aid the Conclave in its noble pursuits on Daronia. Don't worry, I already have one of your number as escort. Not just the other character. Other character. Hello, I am an android. I will do mechanical things for you. Go, Conclave. Two options there, sigh wearily or remain silent. Next option, one of the androids. One moment, I will seek verification. Remain silent. I already have verified our instructions with the controller. Remain silent. But I am not in your circuit. I must verify instructions received with my controller. It is protocol. Remain silent. Are you the only android on guard here? Yes, I am. This is a non-critical area. Only one is needed to limit local population flow. It could interfere with the search. Mysterious things going on. Remain silent. Good. Stuns android. And then we can move on. Oh, and I am speaking to fill this dialogue box. Speaking or speaking more. Continue? There's no ship to give you, is there? And this is our final map. It's going to be a quicker run through because it is pretty linear. And I take it no word from Dragoon.
I haven't heard anything.
He is lost. We must go find him. We shot him off in a torpedo tube to Genesis. We must blow up the Enterprise. All right. And this is the final map. This is the interior for the large structure that we saw in the exterior. Not built to the same scale, unfortunately. I didn't want to put that much effort into it. Oh, I could keep adding blocks. So, yep, this is a large sort of artificial habitation. So it's got a little bit of that austere look from the outside, but it's also got a little bit more plant life, a few more amenities. And it seems Mark is playing with a hologram.
Of course he is.
Well, I noticed that you put one of those little pop-up holographic consoles here. That was a nice touch.
Yep, and there's optional dialogue there too. A little bit of background filler on the state of what's going on here. I've got a small little alcove here with a person and replicators because, again, you need to have the amenities. And just as a note for the floors here, it is actually a glass floor piece just positioned a little bit above a water asset. That's how I achieved that little effect. And then I just put other block objects just a little bit higher for the breakup there. So a little bit of a wall-mounted
Yeah,
gun.
there's something else you placed on this map.
Oh yeah. I didn't take out the bad guys. There's just one group. Yeah. So those guys will actually patrol around the map, and you can sidestep them. So killing them is not actually a mission objective. And there is just, you can basically use the side alcoves to wait them out. And they'll just keep moving.
Well, I think I got too close to them and they decided to attack me.
They're just androids, you can kill them. So the mission objective over, oh yeah, I did put one over thing I want to show this way. I put, just for the just for the hell of it, I put a TV room.
Hey, I found a
really
dead android.
Oh yeah. That's in the next part of the mission. But yeah,
Access news. Ooh, what does the news console do?
Oh yeah. We're gonna select military activity. Then we will see view excerpt Hazra. This is the legendary puppet show. All right, are we on that? Narrated very Dragoon, are we on that?
I'm sorry. Where is that?
Okay, so that dialogue pop-up, we want military activity.
Oh, there we go. Sorry.
And
I've been
then
running around
view
with
excerpt Hazra.
Layer to active. You excerpt Hazra.
Okay, so we're on to Cat.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a puppet show version of the Iconian War that's been broadcast on the Federation News Network. I have no particular reason for having this in here. It's just there, and I thought it was funny. So, narrated very poorly. My name is Tiket. I am a great magician. I have many great spells, and I will use them to conquer all the galaxy. And I may have gone over this when I was writing it on previous Roundtable. But we'll continue watching. The quality of the narration degrades further. My name is Kalis. I am old and fat and probably have several other undisclosed medical problems. I will defeat you. Continue watching. Would you like to see a neat trick? Look, my arm came off. Watching. That is quite surprising. Oh, there goes my heart. I am dead. The puppet abruptly falls over. And he turned to the other character. Just don't ask. Hazra was very proud of these puppets, and I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone up. I don't think everyone up through Starfleet Communications had the heart to tell him no. Let us never speak of this again. So yeah, that is a puppet version of the Iconian War.
Yep, that's how we won.
Well, one thing that I noticed is that once you click on that, you can't interact with the console again.
Yeah, it's a different type of interact. So if you just do the console dialogue, you have the interact button. This way, this is a trigger for interacting with a component.
But
and that allows you to.
Objective.
Yeah, I wish we could customize the interact text, but.
Well, this is actually a way to get around that because it's. You can now customize it and do all that if you just select a pop-up dialogue to trigger on a component complete.
Yeah, but you can't make it reusable.
No, but on these ones, like I want to have a little bit more control.
True.
And this is all the optional stuff that I don't intend necessarily to be repeatable. And there's some things I've actually used this for recently where it's like a singular event happening that it's not necessary to go through repeatedly. So I'm just going to hit a console over here, which is going to just continue the objectives. Because there is a transition to get to the next part. So anyway, that's the archives. We'll finish this up in just a moment. And we can continue on. There's another little patio area, and here is a lobby. Pop-up dialogue, huh? You see what I'm seeing? It's a storage area. With wall hangings and carpets, this space used to be a foyer of some kind. What are you getting at? How much do you want to bet the wall on the far side is a hollow projection? Let's go have a look. So, there's a bit of incongruity. There's decorations, but there's also all these boxes. What are all these boxes doing here? Could be obscuring something, making it look like this area is closed off. And we have, ooh, look over here, a hollow projector asset on the floor.
Another thing that catches my attention is this table's placement.
You'll see.
Look like a natural way to put a table.
Exactly. That's by design. So let's go ahead and decouple the flux matrix. We have disabled the hollow projector, and all the boxes are gone. This now looks like a foyer. The table placement is now a little bit better synced up, and we can now head into the secret lab.
Nice cloud effect.
And the lights just turned on too, although I kind of got in there first. So the lights start off as off, you reach the objective, and they're on. And here's our secret lab.
Ooh, this is a use for this particular asset that I hadn't seen before, but it's a good one.
Yeah, it's the Klingon generator option. Just put up a little bit more for additional conduit piping.
And without the orange glowy thing, it just looks like a bunch of small pipes.
Yep. And this console has spoilers. Don't hit it. I forgot to take that one out.
I have to say, it's kind of amusing that you mix some of the TOS assets with the new stuff, but it actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it works well here because you do have that sort of mix of the Donian architecture and the Starfleet stuff. And you can imagine that setting this place up, there's a little bit of improvising. Just a note on the walls, I did use some struts to break up the walls, and on the floor, there's actually what looks like a little bit of wainscoting. I'll try to stand on. And
this asset kind of puzzles me because it's one of the few things in the game where you see text that's actually not letters or numbers, but it's text.
Yeah, it's another captivity device. So that's
but if you zoom in really close, it has these little weird squiggly characters mixed in with a bunch of ones and zeros.
Alien numbers. Yeah, so anyway, as I was saying over here, these the little bit sticking up, that's actually a bar. And I just used the very top of it. Just to provide a little bit more detailing on the walls. I got this, another replicator because stuff.
and you added pipes to the ceiling to give the ceiling some texture.
Yeah, this is the super ceiling detail. I've got lights, I've broken up the coloration with different blocks, and I've got the pipes there for additional technology gubbins. And I also put the struts angling up to the side to give a little bit of roof support, but also do so in a way that's a little bit different from a lot of the other stuff going around. So,
gotta say, I like the way you combine these consoles and struts together. It actually, looks like a computer whatever thing.
Yeah. I did like that.
The lighting came out well, too. Lighting is really tricky.
Yeah. Especially since our tools for manipulating it are so limited.
And once you get to a certain number of lights, it won't show up on certain objects. So for something like this, you do have to try to break it up a lot and use a lot of different objects.
I think because of the default ambient lights, I think it only allows one additional light per object.
Yeah, and that's a problem on the exterior because there's large pieces and a lot of lights covering them. But here I went for something that was a bit more complicated. With one specific intention is to A, make it look nice, and, well, two specific intentions. A, to make it look nice, and B, to also make sure the lighting worked out well.
So what does this button do?
That one, don't press it.
Okay.
It's more optional dialogue. I don't want that one shown because it is spoiler heavy.
Oh.
So step away. And this one just finishes the map. There we go.
Okay.
So complete. So those are 3 of the 4 custom ground maps that are coming in my new mission.
Awesome. Some very nice work here.
I just realized something that's kind of amusing. Look at the buttons on the end of this. They're very strangely colored compared to most of the console assets.
It's residual, what they used to call a clown puke.
Because there are these red, yellow, and orange, and just.
I think it's an attempt to try and
biometric readings.
I think it's because like some of the Alcars they would do on the show, they would use these very bright colors, but because they were basically celluloid with backlit celluloid, they would look faded once they actually on camera. And unfortunately, when they were doing the early game, they translated some of these and matched the colors, except that they weren't doing the same fading as they were in the show, and so you get these weird, vibrant clown puke.
And then there's things like this, which looks kind of like a technical schematic that's blue lines on a black background. My only guess as to the purpose of it is that it's a wiring diagram for the biobed.
Yeah,
Probably.
it hopefully isn't or something that's been implanted, but it's hopefully something that doesn't represent you.
And then you have the panel on the top, which clearly contains a bunch of text that's too small to be legible.
It's just how many things are wrong with you. You've got all the symptoms. Apparently, the player captain is also, it's got every single type of parasite, every single type of gout, and is pregnant.
And
mysterious elevator.
All right. Well, shall we move on?
Yep, we should.
All right, so I don't actually think we have enough time left to try and do the Foundational Foundry tonight, but we have another how-to that we can do. Dragoon wanted us to demonstrate using the Foundry for screenshots.
Excellent.
So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the Foundry. So now, have you guys ever worked much with taking screenshots?
I've done it once, and it was for a Starfleet Security holiday card.
I have a folder on DeviantArt that I created specifically to house the various screenshots I've taken of this sort of things in the game.
Now, do you guys ever do anything where you like try to stage a shot, or is it more just taking a picture of something?
I have a variety of things. Some of them are just me screenshotting something that I saw because it looked weird. Like, well, one of mine is a screenshot demonstrating that certain duty officers in the game have the wrong faction associated with. Simple things. However, some of them were things that I made using demo record so that I could get a point of view that you can't get under normal circumstances. Like, for one example, one of the Foundry maps we have, actually, no, this wasn't a Foundry map. This was one of the sector cluster exploration exterior maps. Anyways, what it was I used demo record to position the camera so that I was looking down at the map from a ridiculous altitude so that you could see the walkable area of the map, which is this little tiny speck in the middle. You have this large box, which is the area of the map, which it's scenery that's outside the walkable area, but it looks similar to the walkable area. It's just lower detailed texture. Then you have this massive thing outside that, which is, it's not textured scenery, it's just terrain geometry. So yeah, basically it's like a hillside that's colored green. That was a really cool one, because I'd never thought of doing that before I did that, and but the result looked really neat when they got done with it.
Okay, so Dragoon specifically gave us a shot that we need to replicate. It's going to require that we do this in more than one pass. So we're going to actually have to do a little green screen work, and then.
Are you sure he actually wants us to do this, or is he just like setting a ridiculous challenge? Like, yeah, this is something that they'll have to do while I'm not here, so I'll just.
Well, at the time he didn't know he wasn't going to be here, but this is actually a shot somebody was trying or did a screenshot and posted it on Stowe Reddit, and let me share here. So this is the shot from the end of Voyage Home with the where they're in the shuttle. One. And it comes up past the Excelsior, and then, of course, as they pass by, they see the new Enterprise behind it.
Yeah.
And so this is the shot that we need to recreate.
That's going to be interesting. So I saw the attempt on the Reddit, and it's not something you can't do it in one shot because we don't have the ESD. Well, we can't get inside ESD in Space Map. And
we can.
We can?
We can because we can spawn inside the dock.
Okay.
Just do that does not is not going to be the way that produces the best result because we'll get the low res dock.
That's right. And so we want the high res version, so that's going to be on the ground map, but we don't have the Constitution class as a ground scale asset. So we need to do all that, so the ships in space. In the background, and then the background is another pass. Is there anything more? Do we want to have like the shuttle view? Or do we just need those two components?
Okay, so I think the easiest way to do this is going to be to get the shot of the dock as the background.
Mm-hmm.
And forgive me, Stowe decided it needed to patch and then freeze.
Uh-oh.
Mm.
If you're waiting on that for a minute, I did post in the chat log the one attempt I've done so far of creating a screenshot, specifically creating a screenshot in the Foundry. So not something that's playable content, but just something that's been set up.
Hang on, let me pull it up here.
For space, we don't actually have the ability to use green screens. The closest we can do is to make a map that has no backdrop. You can actually go into the backdrop settings and just like delete everything. Okay, you can delete everything except the sound.
I don't think we need to worry about the sound on this
one.
Well, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Wait, we actually have a sound thing for Borg Ship 3. Ooh. Wait,
all
what's
right,
Socrata? Well, one of the sound options is named Socrata.
Socrata.
I don't know. I've never been fully understood how the sounds work. It seems like one of those things that was sort of implemented, but not quite.
And
I don't really get the point of them in the space maps either.
Yeah, what we've got up now is the Starfleet Security Holiday card. Building a snowman, but they have angered the locals.
And you can just bask in that glory while I'm restarting Stowe.
The intermission placard.
Now, how did you get this set up?
So I just went ahead and built this scene with the animations going on. So I placed I placed the wall asset in the back to cover things up, placed a few trees. The snowman, I placed as individual NPC contacts. And then I went ahead and placed all these other NPCs, animated them, and just waited for them to sort of cycle through to something that looked particularly good for the scene. So I think Jagoro's on alert. Ross has the phaser drawn. Graves is interacting. Itrex is doing the Borg hand weld. And Bailey is just pondering.
Fascinating. The snowmen are attacking.
Yes, there ain't. They think we're interfering with one of their brethren. I think they just made it. They're going to worship us as gods for a minute? I don't know.
It never goes that smoothly.
No, that's why the phaser's out.
All right.
Okay,
Foundry's
we're good.
reloaded here. Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and try and get the first aspect of the shot, which is going to be the dock itself. This cool, super huge I seem to remember the dock actually showing up in the preview before. Wondering if this is a new bug.
Which dock asset are you using?
The Earth space dock, the ground map.
Oh.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we want to place the player's perspective a little bit out. So I assume you're going to be creating a floor piece kind of more in the middle and then spotting the player out in that.
Yep, I got a little platform that I'm putting out. And luckily the shot, the dock isn't it's not too specific as to where on the dock it is. It's just the outer wall.
Maybe a little high because you see a little bit of a hint at curvature.
Yeah. I know it's kind of weird. One of the funny things I've done shots from the TOS movies before, and because these are all models that were shot and matted separately, their visual angles or their perspective angles don't always match up, or their lighting, or
oh, that's an interesting way to find those little details out. Just try to do it yourself.
Okay. I'm in the dock. I'm gonna have.
I was just gonna say, was there any that was particularly bad?
Well, I was doing earlier. I was doing the shot of the Enterprise escaping from her space dock, with the Excelsior in the far background. Yeah. And when I was setting it up, I realized that the Excelsior's position is not like uniform with like the outcrop, the central outcroppings in the aerospace dock. They're like at different angles, and the angle of the Excelsior was like directly from the side and stuff like that.
So did we want to go a little bit higher, or looking at the Oh, looking straight ahead at the wall. There's a bit of a two-tone effect if you just look straight back, straight out.
Yeah, I gotta find
And
something with less fog.
oh yeah.
I'm gonna go with the science one. I can raise it up some if you think.
Yeah, just a little, well, little bit, but that's just talking about the angles that you see. Maybe by 10 or 20.
I'm gonna switch it over to the science backdrop. It tends to have a better, more even lighting. All right, there. That's workable.
Step behind in the live stream.
Yeah, sorry.
Loading
There's
up,
like a
loading
10-second
up.
delay.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, you can always see the lights, the floodlights up above,
Yeah.
and I can adjust the contrast later, and this is definitely clear enough to
Yeah.
get a good plate.
Yeah, once we get up towards those lights, then that's perfect.
I might. Okay, so I'm gonna raise this up at 30. So let's go to an even 100, and then just a little trick I like to do. We're gonna throw a wall. So unfortunately, we can't extend the camera all the way into the character, so the character disappears.
But you can force it into the head by placing that wall there.
Exactly.
Ah.
Now, if I was to do this like in the super proper method, I would export this map to live, then go in, record it with demo record, then go in and in demo record, line up the camera all nice and neat, and do it that way. But that method is a little more time consuming and a little outside the time we would have to work on this tonight.
So do we also need to do the photoshopping? Or
We
do we
do.
just need to get the... Oh.
Oh, and I'm pointed the wrong direction.
Oh, no.
Hang on, I gotta rotate. For some reason, the dock isn't showing up on the preview map. So I can't tell where the dock I am until I test it out. But yeah, I mean, it's something not a lot of people know how to use it, but it's actually a very powerful tool, is the demo record. Because I guess it's what they used to, or Cryptic used to use to do all of their trailers and stuff. And so it's got a ton of it has the ability to like plot out like camera moves and stuff. So you can actually set up custom camera paths and all this good stuff.
Interesting. I had no idea about that.
That's definitely a topic I wouldn't mind covering another time. It's not directly Foundry related, but
We've made it
It's
Foundry
something
related
Foundry
tonight.
authors would have a reason to pay attention to.
all right, that looks like just about a great shot.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to kick my render scale up. Take a screenshot. And that will be our first part.
Awesome.
All right, let's go get the second part. Okay, so for the next part, we need ships.
Yep. The Excelsior and the let's see, and the Constitution class.
Yep.
And I'm just trying to work out, were they on level with each other?
It's a little bit weird because the Excelsior seems on level. The Constitution seems tilted forward.
Yeah.
Going back to our reference here. It kind of gets back to that. Not everything is shot at perfectly the same angle.
Yeah, so I'm thinking for the Constitution class, put that just slightly lower to try to get the same view of it.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to capture them separately.
Oh, okay.
I mean, since I have to Photoshop them together anyways.
Hmm.
All right. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and
On that original screenshot, I am sort of what's catching my eye now is something I never noticed while watching the movie, because of course I'm watching the big thing in the middle, is that up and to the left, it looks like there's a circuit breaker on the wall. It's just miscellaneous piece of technology. And it's very brightly lit. And I can't stop noticing that now. There's a circuit breaker, what looks like a Federation basement. There's a circuit breaker on the wall. It's like, you expect someone just to come down the stairs. Honey, stop playing with your toys.
Well, that's one of the things I noticed when looking at the TOS movies again recently, is that the sets they built, some of them were a little bit more low budget than you would expect.
Yeah, the one in particular that I'm always put off by is the Klingon interiors in the Search for Spock.
we're getting a little bit of feedback from somewhere.
There, that's better. I accidentally unmuted the stream.
Okay. Let's see.
That way madness lies.
Okay, so we don't have any access to any of the green screen assets in space. But that's okay.
Yeah, it's
the closest we could do is like the Ebon Void.
The Ebon Void?
Well, it's like what I said earlier about deleting everything from the sky. But basically, you do a custom map, and then you delete all of the background layers, except for the sound, because it won't let you delete the sound.
Well, yeah, sound doesn't matter. I'm just wondering if we've got like one of the green clouds. That's more or less.
Nothing uniform enough to make us passable substitute for a green screen.
Okay. Well, it's not a big deal. No backdrop. Okay, so the other thing we need is the Excelsior. The nice thing about doing these separately is I don't have to try and line them up with each other to get that perfect shot.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird.
Uh-oh. What do you get going on?
My mouse cursor seems to be permanently attached to the camera. It keeps wanting to rotate the camera and I can't click on anything.
Are
Yeah,
you stuck?
every now and then that happens. Weird.
Yeah, well, I'm not stuck per se.
Okay.
I mean, I can't get it out of. It's like I'm holding down a click and. Oh, there we go. I got it. Okay, it's fine.
I do like your Foundry editor character's ship better than mine.
This is the Steam starter pack, which I
Yeah.
totally bought just so I didn't have to fly around in the Foundry in a Miranda.
I'm still in the Marina. I still haven't even gotten to the Earth Space Dock to customize it.
All right, let's get the shot of the.
Captain is currently flying a Mandy.
Yay! There we go. Oh. Almost.
Yeah, the weird. Need up a little bit higher and. Too far. Ooh, that's pretty close. Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right. I think I'm still in render scale 2.
Ooh, there we go. There we go. I'm just watching the temporal echo here on the live stream. That is perfect.
Yeah, the funny thing is that I'm pretty sure the registry says NCC 1700-A.
It does.
It's like 1 digit off. All right, I'm gonna risk render scale 3. No, I'm probably fine. I shouldn't risk it. Not with the streamer going and stuff.
Yeah, we're cutting close on time.
Well, we started really late too.
Yeah, well, it's going to be the classic reality show finish. We have a project. We need to build it. Oh no, we have like 5 minutes left, and we still have to put the roof on the house.
Yeah, well, thankfully we started late, so I think we got 15 minutes left. All right, so this shot is we're gonna shot the Excelsior, and we got to get super close to it. See how close I can actually get. I'm shooting render scale 2, so I've got extra resolution to work with. And for those that don't know, render scale basically like doubles or triples the resolution. So right now it's rendering at double resolution, even though my monitor is only 1080p.
Oh, wow.
It slows down
And-
your computer, but it's great for
Yeah.
screenshots.
Oh,
All right.
And just a note, Dragoon just tweeted that he just got home.
All
uh,
right, I'm gonna do this here.
almost. Temporal echo. Ooh.
Okay, I think I got it.
Yeah, I think so. At the very least, it's going to be totally sufficient, at least with what I'm seeing right now. They can cut it down.
Yeah, all right, let me double check my screen capture folder. Let's go dig out of my Steam folder. Sorry. Always fun trying to dig this out. It's like buried in the Steam folder and the Star Trek Online folder.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, I actually made a permanent link so that I wouldn't have to find the folder. I just like double click on the link and it automatically takes me there.
Yeah, I've put it. I've got Windows 10, and I've put it in the shortcut bar on the side.
Okay, I am not seeing. It doesn't look like I got the. Didn't take the shots of the ships. I only got the dock. Okay,
Good.
so this
Are
one
you
says
still
I'm
in
right
position
here.
on the? Yeah.
I'm still in position on the Excelsior.
Okay.
Double check that. Okay, there we go. I have to like really press this print screen button. Here, while I'm thinking about it.
There's also a print screen console command.
Yeah, but I had to hold the camera in place, so it didn't let me.
Oh. Well, you can use the console. You can type in the console command and then just not push enter, and then like drag the camera to the right angle, and then quickly push enter twice.
All right, so I just got to get back in position for the. Grab that shot of the.
Belated greetings, gentlemen.
Oh,
Greetings. We're just on the.
howdy.
We're almost done.
Just as
we're just
almost done.
We're on the tail end of getting or putting together the screen capture or the screenshot
Oh,
you
very
asked
nice.
us to do.
Very nice.
All right, double check that I got it.
Excellent.
Yep. Okay.
Looks good. All right, we got it.
Yep, we got it.
Yay. Oh, Dragoon, I may have made mention of the fact that you may have caused the Hobus Nova because you weren't here, so we decided to depend as much as we could on you.
Oh, well, you know. Before the time traveling is done in Star Trek Online, I imagine we'll be responsible for pretty much everything.
Yeah. Let's see. We killed the dinosaurs off. We killed everything off in the Permian extinction event. Ordovician, that's all us. Let's see. We assassinated every single historical figure and also prevented the assassination of every historical figure and prevented people from preventing the assassination or continuing on that madness for every other historical figure.
And we also ended up being responsible for the subpar quality of the Star Wars prequels. That was us.
We are also the father/mother of every major character in Star Trek.
Yes.
/grandfather/aunt/son. How that works.
And Pax was asking me about the character settings that I'm working on for the AEI challenge. They are in progress, I can assure you. It's a bit of a long process to get all that done, and I've been out of town. So I've got an open weekend coming up. We'll be getting that done and then launching the challenge.
Yay. And, as a note, I made mention of the fact that I won't be doing a mission for this one. I'll be working on my next SSF. But one thing I didn't mention is in the rare case of a tie, I will be adjudicating with the Pope hat.
Yes. We will be doing community voting like we always have done in the Foundry challenges, the official ones. We'll be using that same process, but in the event that there is a tie, I have declared that DuncanIdaho is tiebreaker judge.
Yep. And I will try to find an interesting way of breaking those ties. If it comes down to no clear judgment.
Flip a coin.
Well, what I'm thinking is actually employing a cat, maybe a Goldberg device.
Ooh, I like that.
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a weird twist of fate, I've managed to get Photoshop showing up on the stream.
Yay.
Okay.
Maybe put the names on balls and put them in front of the cat to see which one it plays with first.
I actually got one better. So the cat already has small little ball toys that it plays with, and they're different colors. So I throw two, see which one it goes for, and it should be interesting because this cat does backflips to get those. So let's hope for a challenge,
Are you going to make a YouTube video of this?
Yeah,
Well,
you will have to videotape this.
I will have to videotape it. And that's the spectacle of having a designated judge for this judging. So, guys, please vote for a tie.
In reality, though, it's the cat that's going to be.
It's going to be me initiating the cat judge. So I will be the assistant judge to the cat.
The assistant judge. Cat is the judge. What is the cat's name?
This cat is Pumpkin.
Pumpkin. All right. Chief Justice Pumpkin.
Yes.
Federation Supreme Court.
Although the nickname that I know most often shout out is Nib Nib. Because that's what she does in bed. She will come up and get under the covers and will start biting like a little piranha. Nib 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 Nib.
Okay, so I got
that's interesting.
our dock in as a layer. This will be our backdrop.
Now
Awesome.
I can finally see the stream. My internet is being very, very slow tonight ever since I got home a couple minutes ago. Took me this long to stream through Twitch's ad that they always put in front of me.
I actually learned something interesting tonight, and it's the fact that there's a Doom game coming out that I had no idea was coming out next month.
Oh, yeah, that.
I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is a game. I'm interested in this, and I didn't know it existed. An ad has actually done something useful. First time in like maybe 24 years.
More a failure of the internet, because the internet's supposed to tell you these things.
Yeah.
Like supposed to be all over
there's
Twitter.
ads for so many things, though. Maybe 1 out of 100 ads for something that I actually care about.
Yeah. Basically, advertising is like a shotgun pattern.
I only pay attention to advertising if it is painted on the side of a race car.
There we go.
And actually not even that.
Well, my high opinion of Target these days is still based on the fact that I followed their IndyCar team way back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Chip Ganassi. Absolutely.
Yeah. Jimmy Vassar. Yay, number 12.
Now we got Scott Dixon in the Target car, and I'm sorry, I just can't read.
Well, I stopped paying attention after that. And yeah, it's one of the things like I want to watch IndyCar racing, but I don't have TV now. I just have internet.
Yeah, it makes it a little tough.
All right, so I've got the
Yeah, we're vamping here
Constitution
because-
selected. Put it in the shot.
I, of course, am coming to this late, so I don't know what's going on, other than you're trying to do some sort of screen.
I am in Photoshop, and I am. I took 3 different screenshots. I took one of the dock for Earth Space Dock, and I took one of the Constitution model for the Enterprise A, and then I took one of the Excelsior from the side, close up to the saucer.
And a note on the Twitch stream, we have your user interface on Photoshop, but we can't actually see what you're photoshopping.
Ah,
That's interesting.
that is bizarre.
Do you have your window on another monitor, or is it just something weird with Twitch?
I think it's something weird with Twitch because
Oh,
everything,
hang on.
it's the correct space. It's just not displaying what's being worked on in that page. So we can even see the cursor changing, and that's all fine.
This way. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna have to resort to the most primitive of capture devices, a monitor capture. Nope, that's not it.
Gotta use anything at your disposal.
There we go.
Right?
Apologize, folks, for the
Ross the
Rudeness.
Burn is asking, in OBS, are you streaming the window or the monitor?
I am just now switching to the monitor. Window was not working. Okay, so I've got my
I'm gonna have to hit refresh because I think my stream quit on me.
Yeah, so we got it now.
okay.
So are we going to be zooming in on just that upper surface, or are we going to have that full shot of the Excelsior? There we go. We got it!
Okay, so
Oh, hey,
gotta-
that's pretty cool.
just
Now,
down the dock.
were you using a particular reference screenshot?
Yes,
Yep.
we're actually using this shot from the end of the voyage home. Give it 10 seconds and you'll see it on the stream.
There in the top, the upper left is the circuit breaker for Earth Space Dock. Brilliantly lit.
Colonel Obvious says he wishes it was as easy as you just made it look.
I realize
Well,
not everyone
it-
has I'm gonna have some fun and
There are, other image editing programs you can get. for
yeah,
Photoshop.
GIMP is a good one.
Yeah, I gotta say, you got pretty close there. You'd have to crop in a little bit, but pretty close.
No, I'm just
So
kind
what-
of
Playing with the
now
what do you got
I'm
there?
just having fun.
brightness,
Trying to actually
contrast,
recreate the shot, like some of the
Yeah.
imperfections in the shot. Because you can tell the original shot that the Excelsior is darker and bluish tinted, whereas the Enterprise is more faded and whiter.
Well, there's a little tool that I know about in Photoshop is called History Brush, where you can go and paint back in something from a previous step in history.
I'm just playing with the.
Now the question is, can we submit this to something?
I already submitted one for the screenshot contest this month. Besides, I think the theme is time travel.
Oh, well, we can do some. Can we put something in here to make it time travel?
Yeah. Just add the temporal dreadnought or something.
Yeah. Or a Nakul agent on the hull of the Excelsior.
So you never.
Well, I'll tell
nobody
you
ever
where you
asked
should-
what happened to the first captain of the Excelsior.
He retired.
He's currently being assassinated by a Nakul.
There you go.
Well, are we supposed to prevent his death or cause his death or let it happen naturally?
Wasn't exactly likable, was he?
He was kind of a jerk, and he had a riding crop. Yeah, didn't he? As
Which
his
just screams pretentious.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it
I'll
screams.
tell you what
Captain-
you should do at the very least, Dragoon, is post that to that guy's screenshot thread on Reddit that I linked to you earlier in the week. Because our whole initial conversation came out of me looking at that thread, and the guy had tried to replicate this shot from the film, and he couldn't figure out a way to set it inside Earth space dock. So
Okay, so what do you guys think?
I think the Enterprise is a little too bright, but otherwise it's perfect. Wait, I'm just seeing you decrease the brightness now, and then that's perfect. Sorry. Okay, now it's perfect.
we'll delay. That's good. I think it looks excellent.
All right, and just for reference, here's the original shot. Obviously, it's using the wrong deflector, but
Can't get around that. And so,
I could make a custom model.
But then you wouldn't get the the nearly perfect registry.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you won't have done the whole thing in Stowe.
Well, no, I meant make a custom model or costume in the Foundry.
Yeah, I think Type 1 may have worked out a little bit better as the hull material, because that's basically the TNG Enterprise D.
I'm just wondering about
Well, this was the stock version.
Yeah, it's if you're using Type 1 or 3 or 5, 3 or 4 on the hull material, that should be the right deflector. That's basically the Enterprise D deflector material. It still looks good.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's worth it to get the right the NCC 1700A.
Oh yeah,
and I could probably do something. I could paint out this deflector and make it look more like the movie one.
The whole point of the shot in the movie was seeing that 1701 on
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure we are. If we haven't passed it already, we're probably very close to our time limit.
Yeah,
well,
probably.
We're 15 over, but we did start 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
Hey,
it probably works out. All right, so
take
wrap
away
up with the contact info. You can reach us by email at foundryroundtable@live.com. We are also on Twitter at foundryroundtab. Dragoon can be reached at Dragoon1701. Duncan can be reached at Gorgonops_SSF. Mark can be reached at Markhawkman. And I can be reached at Greendragoon. And I hope you enjoyed this little demonstration. I think we'll say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.